Journal with which what'd you say? Journal with which
Journal
journal
within which
journal within
which within which will journal with which.
journal with which. Welcome to Seasonal Waste Bin, episode 6 of Journal with which, journal within which. I'm here with my co-host Uni. I'm introducing him himself this time because he seems to have trouble doing that anytime I ask him to do so. Uni, what are your thoughts of this episode 6, initial impressions?
This episode made me react like a little schoolgirl, and I go like, "Ooh, Makio's in love!" Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
And that was very nice. I like that. One thing that's been getting on my nerves, and I feel like this episode was speaking to me because I feel like this episode was in tandem with how I'm feeling with Makio, where it's like everything's, the pressure's been piling up. There's been more melodrama as of late. Feels like it's been a while since like episode 2, where we've had mostly just like a feel good, like this is just the characters having fun in their lives. And it feels like this episode is a mix of that. It's a mix of like the tension is rising, but also Makio doesn't like that, and she does just want to have fun with stuff. But she's just overthinking so many things, and I felt like this episode, the conclusion, I was just like, you know what? I like that Makio's with me, and I like that she wants to fuck this dude really bad. That's really funny.
It was crazy. I've been talking about this, or near the end of the last episode, of where I saw on Twitter.com someone saying this is the hottest thing I've ever seen, and literally right before we were recording, Uni was telling me, is like, I don't think it was that hot, but like I appreciate that, like, she's getting some. And I remember I just told him, I was like, if I didn't know before, I definitely know now that this was definitely written by a female mangaka. And I made sure to confirm that, and it is in fact the case. One of the things that absolutely gave it away to me was the first time where Makio starts giving eyes to Kasamachi. It's because like he uses his hand to quickly like wipe and lick off like a piece of food that's on his face, and it's his hands. I don't know if you guys know this, you fellas out there. Women really like hands for some reason. Some women, men have feet, but women have hands. It's very funny, and it's real. No, it's super real.
Wait, but what about Kira from JoJo Part 4? He was in the hands also.
Yeah, I guess he was also in the hands. That is true. So yeah. Look, sometimes the
and
wires.
He was a real guy. He was a real guy in real life.
Sometimes the wires cross a little bit. He was connected to his inner woman, but inner woman as a man, which is what led him to be like a serial killer.
That's why he was so angry with the world, because he was trans the whole time.
Yeah.
He could only take it out by being a serial killer.
Yeah, when the other time where Makio is really like, oh my god, I think I want to fuck this guy, he's so hot, was when she was like looking at her menu, and he reached over and was pointing at it with his hand, and she was and then she immediately became really sexually frustrated, where she was like rubbing her own feet with her other foot, and I was like, oh man, like it's the hands, it's literally the hands thing. I just thought that was really funny. Like immediately, I was like, yep.
I've read a good amount of work made by women, and I think it just is like because it's like not to speak for all women, but from what I understand, from what I've read, from my philosophy degree that I have, it seems like that a lot of women like to recognize that a man is bigger than them in some ways. That's like appealing, and the hands are an easy way, I guess, of just like, oh, this is like big rugged guy.
Big man.
You can tell like pretty immediately via hand.
Big man, big hands. And I mean, that definitely checks out. Look how big
your hand is.
That definitely checks out, because she even at some point like mentioned, I was like, oh, have you been training? He's like, I don't know if I'd call it training, but yeah, I've been working out. Like, she mentions his stature. It's like, has this guy always been this big, rugged, tough, and strong, and tall, and handsome? And has he always smelled good? That line was pretty good. I did like that line that she hit him with.
That was very romantic.
Where she said that she said that he smells nice, and he goes with other men don't smell like this, and I was like, whoa. Very, very good Riz line. I like that. That's very unique. I don't think I've ever heard that. That was good. I really like that. I like that.
To me, it made him like look a little needy, which I thought was cute. Because he was asking for confirmation, where he's like, do other men smell like this? Where he basically just wants like confirmation that he's special.
I mean,
which I thought was like,
he literally says verbatim that part of the reason that he's still part of her life despite her breaking up with her, because she says that like he says that he's willing to be there with her even just as a friend. She says, I don't think that's fair to you. And he goes, I don't think it's fair to you. I just like to feel, I just like to be needed. I want you to need me, like whether it be as a friend or not. Like he just says that. Like he is extremely needy and just wants to be part of Makio's life, even if it is just as a friend. But it seems like Makio may want him in his life as more than just a friend. But we'll see.
And in her pussy.
In her yeah. If we're gonna wait, sorry, go ahead. It sounded like you had a thought.
I was gonna say this episode's a nice like a little retrieve. I feel like I mentioned it earlier, but I really have been going like, okay, there's a lot of melodrama, there's a lot of stuff. I've been getting a little fed up with that. I've been getting a little fed up with like everyone like being sad and being like, oh man, God, that mom that died, isn't that a bummer?
Oh, man,
and I'm like,
crazy.
Yeah, it is a bummer.
Oh man,
so it's nice. Sister. It's finally nice that we got some fun stuff in terms of the characters having fun.
Yeah, there's definitely there's definitely a lot of funny lines in here. But I guess if we're gonna go slightly back, I guess in the beginning, a little bit more to the melodrama. It was really interesting to me that the episode kind of starts off with Makio grabbing this journal that was clearly meant for Asa and is reading through it, and she's clearly talking about Asa in a very loving way when she says that the name that she chose for her was like carefully handpicked because like she cares about her and she loves her. And Makio kind of just closes the journal out of frustration almost. And I think it's because like she doesn't understand, she almost doesn't want to believe that her sister was like capable of love because she wasn't given that by her. And she goes as far as saying, when did you grow to hate me? Like there's a bit of frustration there. And I don't know, is that a bit of an invasion of privacy on Makio's part? I don't know if she's meant to read that, because it really seems like it was meant for Makio, so I don't know, or meant for Asa, so I don't know if it's going to come to a head or not. And she's just keeping it in her closet, and I don't think she's even mentioned this to Asa, so I don't know. Maybe that'll go somewhere. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I read that a little bit differently.
Let me hear it.
When that happened, I read that as like clearly the mother, like a way that she shows love is with like that controlling behavior, right? Like that is like the way that she expresses affection, at least in some degree, where she just like is controlling over things. Because that's what it read to me. Like the name choice being so deliberate is just like the mother clearly is like very attentive towards the idea of the child. So I almost read that like as if like Makio is like sort of like
jealous.
I don't know if like implicitly like specifically rejecting that idea, or just like she doesn't know how to like handle that concept right now.
Yeah, it's hard
like,
to say.
Maybe my sister did love me.
Maybe she did care about me. I don't know. It's hard to say because she ends it with saying, "When did you grow to hate me?" So I don't know. Yeah. I guess it can go either way. It's really hard to say. Yeah. By the way, I know that we had mentioned this near the end of the episode, but man, Amity is like gay. Like she's just gay. Because I know there's there's a little bit to hint in there that like she just might be asexual, but I don't think so, because when the topic of marriage comes up, she says, because it's just her and Makio when they're waiting for Asa because she went out to go grab something, she asks her like, well, why aren't you married? And Makio tries to reassure her and says that whether you want to get married or not, like both is like super normal. It's not like a big deal. And Amity says, well, I do want to get married, but, and she clearly like, you know, has a little bit of like weird body language. So I think that like she's just like into women. She's not opposed of the idea of marriage, I don't think. She's just opposed to the idea of traditional straight marriage. And it actually comes back a little bit later, which I really, really, really appreciated from Makio, that she noticed when it was Amity, when she was in her embroidery club, right? She mentions that part of the reason that she's in it is because it helps distract her. It's very calming for her, so she doesn't have to think about anything. She can just like avoid her feelings, really. And Makio immediately gets a flashback to her reading her manga. And she's just projecting herself onto her, being like, I know what she's doing. She's avoiding her feelings, and she's doing it through this embroidery class. So she gets up and she gets her a movie called Tomatoes and says, hey, this might help you. You might find some refuge in this movie. You know, like she's trying to help her instead of just allowing her to avoid her feelings. She's giving her something to essentially confront those feelings. So like you need to deal with this and not avoid it just by doing
Feel
this
God.
embroidery stuff. Yeah. And then I thought it was really funny when Asa was like, what about, are you going to recommend me something? And she's like, yeah, Mad Max Fury Road. And she's like, wow, that sounds scary.
I wonder if that's a real movie. Tomatoes. I wonder
Yeah,
if
I
that's
don't
a
know.
real
I'd
thing
assume
then.
so. I almost get the vibe it is because she immediately recommends Mad Max. I was thinking of watching it before we recorded, but I'll get around to it some other time.
Should have watched Mad Max before this.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Good. Oh yeah, I there's a scene in here where like it was like a fine scene. I wasn't upset with it, but I did get the inclination that like, oh man, there are gonna be people on Twitter knowing about this. They'd just be like, this is a great thing for autistic people because Makia has like a scene where she's just like, oh, you know, some things don't come as easy to me as you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is very autistic coded. And I'm immediately seeing the people on Twitter tweeting about it, akin to the way that people tweet with like, "Oh man, this realistic panic attack."
Oh yeah.
I just like felt like I can immediately see threads of this, and you know that's not even on the show's fault. That's just like the culture that I've engaged with for some reason.
It's really funny. I didn't see anything. Maybe I'm just not on that side of Twitter, but yeah, I can believe it because what was it? It's Asa tells Makio like, why can't you do like the simplest of tasks, something like that, and
Why can't you be normal?
Why can't you be normal? And then Makio just immediately gets flashbacks to everyone kind of treating her with kids' gloves in a way, where they're kind of like she feels like she's being, what's what I'm looking for here? It's just she clearly struggles with doing simple things, and it's clearly something that's been an issue with her entire life because it goes even further back. It goes like when she's an adult, and then it goes further beyond that, and then when she's a kid, and she's been clearly dealing with not being able to do simple things for a very long time, you know. So anytime she's told that, when she was told that by Asa, it immediately like floored her. It was a good scene. It was fine, you know, nothing crazy. And it's like nothing that I didn't already know about Makio, I don't think. I guess it's just like telling us how in-depth it really is and how far it like reaches back in her life. I guess like one other thing worth mentioning that I thought was a little bit cute, that when the attorney man called Makio after she hangs up the call, well, one thing leads to another. When she hangs up the call, once the call ends, she mentions to herself, is like, didn't I tell this guy rather be emailed? Which I'm sure that this guy does know that. I think he'd rather just talk to Makio. Like, he likes her. And I don't think she's picking up on that. But I think that the attorney man's been a little bit rizzed up by Makio. And
he will get cucked.
And he will get cucked. And he's already been cucked. She's smelling other men that don't smell like him. That smell like Kasamachi, even. When she hangs up the phone, that leads to her I'm pretty sure that is what accidentally leads her to sending the text message to Kasamachi. And I really appreciate that Kasamachi in his message just said he didn't want to just get Chinese. He's like, I want greasy Chinese. I want to eat bullshit. I was like, man, I really empathize with that. Like, that's awesome. Like, he's just like me, FR. Sometimes I just want to eat some greasy bullshit. And I'll say just as much too. I want something greasy. I want something nasty. I want something that's bad for me. You know what? Kasamachi is like a 10 out of 10 in my book. I love that guy.
This episode, talking about the direction for a little bit, I think it's interesting. I think this episode, it's been a little bit, but we're back to like sort of the, what you call it, like the imagination scenes.
Yes.
Because Emily has like a little like little scene where she like imagines that she's like in a little like cafe of sorts, which you know, the interesting thing there is that I like that she was like outside of it, and so like I think that's like it's a nice little visual storytelling of like she doesn't feel like she's in this house. Like she's not of the house, she just is in it as an outsider. That was nice. Which I guess was the whole point of communicating that. What was the other one? Oh yeah, there was like a really interesting direction when they were like they have that conversation in the Chinese place. We're basically like Makio's like past interactions are sort of like overlaying on reality a little bit, in an interesting way. I guess it would just sort of communicate that like how like a lot of things are just going on in her head right now. It was a good way to like like make everything visually cluttered because it felt very cluttered, but that felt intentional to be like a reflection of like what's going on in her brain.
Yeah.
That was interesting. That was nice. There's probably another scene I'm forgetting, but those are the two that stood out to me. And it was like, oh, we're doing that again.
I guess
back.
it's slightly worth mentioning that one of the things that Makio had talked to about the attorney, which I do appreciate this conversation, was the fact that he says that he's not really into like fiction. He's not really into storytelling. And when he apologizes to Makio, Makio says, no, it's fine. Some people don't need storytelling. Some people don't need stories to help them figure out who they are, which is like pretty much what she was saying. She didn't say that verbatim, but that is what she was trying to communicate. Like some people do need storytelling. Some people do need these things in their life to help figure themselves out. And if I remember correctly, she slightly remembered that before she had given Emity the movie recommendation, because she feels that Emity is one of those people that does need storytelling in her life and that they find refuge. And she also describes it as being in a foreign land, which Emity herself, like you mentioned a few seconds ago, saw herself in like a foreign land where she was like, outside of this tea shop and she was being given tea by Makio, which was really cool, really nice.
I think Makio pregnant arc. I think Makio pregnant arc can happen.
Yeah, I was about to say
we're getting closer,
dude. That was like a bit for like since we started in episode 3, and it's just like continued on for a little bit too long. So much so that I was like, man, all right, maybe we need to stop this bit. And then it's like hit like the climax. It's like, wait, no, the bit continues. Like it may actually just happen.
And Asta will get jealous over the baby.
Over the baby.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think, this is just going to be a shorter episode. What's your rating? Where are you at?
Honestly, at the start, I was like, oh, man, this is like the weakest episode. But then at the end, I was like, wait, this is actually one of the best episodes. So I'm feeling like an 8.
8?
I really liked how horny Makia was. That was really nice. I was with her. I was just like, yes, romance is so beautiful. But she's conflicted. She has conflicted feelings. And she doesn't know what to do. But then at the end they have a little kiss and it's like, oh
yeah, Makio even has that like council of Kaguya of all of them being like, he's your friend. It's like, God, I really want to fuck him. Which I really appreciate that one in her head. That one was awesome. But yeah, it's funny, I'm pretty much at the same place. I've been noticing we've been agreeing a lot. I'm at 8 out of 10 too. All right, well, if that's pretty much everything, all right, catch us in the next episode. I think we're caught up right now, which is crazy. I don't even know if is there any more episodes? I don't even know if there's any more episodes. Hold on, let me confirm.
There's episode 6. There's 7.
Oh, is there 7 episodes out right now?
Yeah, we've been like a week behind every time.
Yeah, I know. I finally feel like we've been like caught up, so we should have that next episode out soon-ish. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna announce right now that there's gonna be a bit of a delay. So next week there will not be a new episode. I'm actually gonna expect a little bit of a delay. All right, well, catch us next time on episode 7 of